Breaking tonight, more with the man who interrogated Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Dr. James Mitchell is here with us again. Jim, continue. I'm sorry, you were speaking about the heroes on Flight 93.
Right, what I was going to say, and I'm glad we stopped because I always get teary when I talk about 9/11. You know, I honestly, at that particular time, I thought to myself, if they're willing to give up their lives, these ordinary people are willing to turn into warriors and give up their lives in order to save the Capitol building, what we tend to that I should be willing to give up my moral high ground to go try to save some additional American lives. What we forget is Al-Qaeda tried to decapitate the United States on 9/11. They hit our financial center, they hit our military leaders, and they had intended to take out our political leaders. The loss of life was tremendous and horrible, but the real damage, can you imagine if they had managed to kill the senators as well as do everything else they did?
The president says we reclaim our moral authority by admitting our mistakes. Your thoughts on that?
That's a truism. How could that not be true?
He thinks it applies in this particular context. Do you?
I think the particular context has been misrepresented. I don't think that Senate report put out by the Democrats actually captures what happened. It cherry picks, it manipulates the wording, it frames the argument differently. It reads like a prosecutorial brief rather than an effort to get to the truth. And I'll just give you an example of what I'm talking about. As I read through that thing, or started reading through that thing, I noticed that there were they presented me in a very bad way, which I expected. But then there were lots of cases on the periphery where they talked about people raising concerns. You know, concerns were raised by, and I looked at the incidents and read through them, and I realized I'm the person raising the concerns. But they're not identifying me when the concerns get raised. They're identifying me when there's something going on that they think will bring some sort of ill will towards me in the presentation of their argument.
So when you saw abuses, you reported them?
I reported a lot of abuses, and so did Dr. Jessen. We were reporting every single thing we saw that we thought went outside of the OLC guidance, you know?
And those were investigated. I know you feel that the Senate report was one-sided, and I want to get to more of that with you because there's a separate story there about whether they talked to you, whether they condemned you without your side, and so on. But I just want to finish up with the KSM interrogation because you said he was arrogant when you began, and then he was waterboarded. What is the official number of times in your view?
Well, the official number of times is different than what's written in the report because they counted every pour,
right.
Every time you poured water.
You explain that.
But they counted that as sessions. But the session is how long you lay on the board. And I actually don't know because the physicians were keeping track of that stuff.
Was he less arrogant by the time you were done? And what was it that finally broke Khalid Sheikh Mohammed?
I don't want to. We felt that waterboarding wasn't particularly effective on him. He is one of those. It was not. He was one of those very rare people who can actually open up the back of his nose when people are pouring water on him, and he could just let that stuff run out his mouth. So he could defeat it that way, and he would hold his finger up and count down. He knew how many seconds we were going to go if we were going to do a long pour because, again, even with him, we only did two 20-second pours and one 40-second pour in a session. So, and then the rest were all very short pours. So he would count down on those long pours to just let us know that, you know, and we were unwilling to escalate it any further.
So how did you get to the point where he wound up providing what we're told is very useful information?
The other EITs. I don't really want to say which ones they were in case, you know, God forbid.
And is it true that he did provide useful information? Because there's a debate about that, too.
In my opinion, it is. But let me tell you what. The public shouldn't trust me. I have a vested interest in this. The people they should trust are the men and women at the CIA who, contemporaneous to this data being produced, was writing reports and using reports. They shouldn't be trusting the Senate who goes in there, the Senate Democrats on this thing, who goes in there with an agenda with something that they've decided they were going to find already. You need to look at the reports that were released back when Dick Cheney requested that they release the reports when they shut down the program initially, and read the reports that were never meant to be seen by the public.
Up next, we're going to finish our interview with Dr. Mitchell for now. We'll have more tomorrow night. But I'm going to ask you next, Doctor, about your experience. And I know you have said publicly that you believe these Senate Democrats have put a fatwa on you. We'll talk about it next. And breaking tonight, more now with Dr. James Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, thanks again for being back with us. You say the Senate Democrats in this report, which was one-sided, did not include the Republicans, that they, quote, put a fatwa on you. Explain that.
When it not only didn't include the Republicans, it didn't include the CIA. From my perspective, and from the perspective of the other interrogators that were involved that I've talked to, it seems almost like some sort of, secret tribunal, some sort of star chamber. It's like being caught up in a bad spy novel. They think we're guilty of some horrible thing. We can't be prosecuted because what we did was legal, and multiple investigations have shown it. So they had this meeting, $40 million, 5 years, however long it was, but they already knew the result they wanted. They didn't give us a chance to explain anything. They didn't even bother talking to the people at the CIA or any of the people who were no longer at the CIA, though, had been involved, like the past directors. Then they issue this report that essentially stirs up all of the crazies and all the jihadists. And so now we're getting death threats and we're getting all kinds of things. How many times in your life have you had a law enforcement official call you up in the middle of the day and say, leave your house immediately? That happened to me a couple of days ago.
Do you feel your life is in danger?
Well, of course, you have to be cautious, and you do feel your life is in danger. I do not mind giving my life for my country, but I do mind giving my life for a food fight for political reasons between two groups of people who should be able to work it out like adults.
No one from the Senate committee ever called you to get your side?
No one from the Senate committee has ever asked me a single thing. If they think I've abused somebody, they should ask me about it. They should point at the piece of paper, let me review the documents, and let me at least try to explain ourselves. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed has the opportunity to address the charges against him, but I don't. That's why I'm angry about this. They have a foregone conclusion. They put my life in danger. They put the lives of other CIA personnel that would do, and our families in danger for some sort of moral high ground.
Dr. Mitchell, you have not been speaking out. We've been trying to get you on the program for a week now. You finally, over the weekend, said you'd do it. What changed?
What changed was, when you first started calling me, to be candid with you, I was very upset. I wasn't ashamed that I had been involved in the program. I'm proud of the work we did. We saved lives. I don't care what the Senate said. For all the presidents, the past 3 CIA directors, I got an award for the work that we did. They told us we did a good job. They told us we saved lives, and I believe that we did. What changed? And then this stuff comes out, no opportunity to defend myself, and I feel horrible for the nation. I feel horrible in part because this puts everyone at risk, and worse yet, it shows Al-Qaeda and the Al-Qaeda 2.0 folks, ISIL, that we're divided and that we're easy targets, that we don't have the will to defeat them, because that's what they know. In fact, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed told me personally, your country will turn on you. The liberal media will turn on you. The people will grow tired of this. They will turn on you. And when they do, you are going to be abandoned. Well, I don't feel abandoned by the CIA. They didn't throw me under the bus. And I live in a world where real people live. I run into people, they recognize me. About 65% say, thank you for looking after our well-being. There's another small percentage that says, I absolutely abhor what you did, but I understand why you did it. And then there's another group of people that makes out the rest of them that says, I would never do that. It's better to let 3,000 people die than lose the moral high ground. from my perspective, I'm a big proponent of the drone policy, but I don't think that there was a moral equivalence between blowing up a picnic and killing Granny and slapping KSM on the belly, or waterboarding KSM, as ugly as that was. I just don't see the equivalence. We don't have a targeted assassination program. If we did, we wouldn't have to be killing Granny. We could get to the person that we intend to kill and kill those folks. It's just, for me, you can probably tell I'm a little agitated about this. For me, I don't want to die because the Democrats in the Senate don't have the courtesy to ask the CIA to explain what they view as abuses that occurred when there's other evidence, 6 million documents, and they cherry pick what makes their point out of it and put us in danger.
Dr. Mitchell, we're so glad to have the opportunity to speak with you tonight. We're going to continue this. I want to tell our viewers tomorrow night because there's much more to cover. We appreciate you being here, sir.